All right, today we're jumping into one of the most amazing stories there is, the story of human growth. I mean, how we go from this tiny, helpless baby to, well, a fully grown adult. It's wild.
Seriously, have you ever stopped to really think about it? One minute you've got a newborn that fits right in your arms, and then boom, in what feels like a blink of an eye, they're looking down at you. It's this incredible transformation that, every single one of us has gone through.
So when we say growth, what are we even talking about? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. On one hand, it's the obvious stuff, getting bigger, taller, gaining weight. But just as important is everything happening on the inside, all our organs developing and maturing.
Okay, but here's the thing. This whole amazing process doesn't just happen magically. It needs fuel. It needs building blocks. And the number one secret ingredient for all of it? Nutrition. Seriously, think of it like you can't build a house without bricks, right? Nutrition is those bricks for everything, our bones, our muscles, even our brains.
Now, this whole journey isn't just a slow, straight line up. Nope, it's way more exciting than that. It's more like an adventure with these really distinct, high-speed phases. Our growth really breaks down into three main stages, and each one has its own vibe, its own pace. First up, you've got infancy. That's the rocket start. Then comes childhood, which is more of a steady cruise. And finally, adolescence, the big final sprint. So, let's dive into each one.
All right, first up, infancy. We're talking from birth to about 1 year old. And let me tell you, this is hands down the fastest we ever grow outside of the womb. It's just an unbelievable rate of cell division. And to give you an idea of just how fast, a baby can double its birth weight in the first 4 to 5 months. I mean, can you imagine an adult doing that? No way. It's a completely mind-blowing pace, and it's powered almost entirely by milk.
So yeah, infancy in a nutshell, it's all about speed. It's the fastest we grow, period. You've got this lightning-fast jump in both weight and height. And this time is so critical because it's setting the foundation for everything that comes next.
But after that absolute explosion of growth, the body totally shifts gears. We go from the crazy pace of infancy to the slow and steady vibe of childhood. It's like the rocket boosters just switch off, and we settle in for a nice, long cruise.
Now, during childhood, growth doesn't stop, of course not, but it gets way more predictable. You see those slow, gradual increases in height and weight year after year. This is the time for learning, for refining motor skills, all on top of that steady physical growth.
But just when everything seems kind of calm and steady, the journey takes another wild turn. The last big stage before adulthood kicks in, we're talking about adolescence. And that final sprint, it's about to start.
And this stage is all about that famous growth spurt. It's like a second rocket boost, another super fast increase in height and weight. And it's all kicked off by a huge surge of hormones. This is when the body really starts making those final changes to become physically mature. Okay, so we've got these three totally different stages, but how do we actually keep track of it all? How do we know if everything's on the right path? Well, it turns out we have some really good tools for that.
The tools are pretty much what you'd guess, height and weight. But the real magic is in how that data gets used. Doctors take those numbers and plot them on something called a growth chart. This lets them compare a kid's growth to thousands of other kids their age to make sure everything's following a healthy curve over time.
But here's the thing. It's so much more than just numbers on a chart. It's not just about getting taller. While all that's happening on the outside, there's this massive, incredible transformation happening on the inside.
I mean, think about what's going on under the hood. Your bones? They're not just getting longer, they're getting stronger, denser. Your muscles are growing, your body fat is changing. And really crucial organs like your brain are still maturing. It's a total body renovation. And that brings us right back to our main point, doesn't it? All of this construction, inside and out, needs a constant supply of good quality building materials. So, let's talk again about just how crucial nutrition really is.
Look, nutrition is always important, but there are specific times when it is absolutely critical. We call these critical periods. We're talking about before birth, during that crazy fast infancy stage, and then again during adolescence. These are the moments when the body is just soaking it all up.
And you have to understand this. During these periods, good nutrition isn't just a nice to have. It is absolutely non-negotiable. If you miss the mark here, it can have effects that last a lifetime, impacting everything from how tall you get to how your brain develops.
It's so important to remember that a growing kid is not just a tiny adult. Their bodies are working overtime, constantly building new stuff. That means, pound for pound, they need way more nutrients, more protein, more calcium, more everything than a grown-up who's really just in maintenance mode.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground on this amazing journey. So let's zoom out for a second and just nail down the key takeaways. Think of this as your cheat sheet for understanding growth.
So here's what you really need to remember. 1. Growth is about getting bigger on the outside and developing on the inside. 2. It happens in those 3 key stages: infancy, childhood, and adolescence. And 3. Nutrition is the fuel for all of it, especially during those critical periods. Bottom line, healthy food equals healthy growth.
And that leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. Now that we know how this amazing process works, and we know just how vital that fuel is, what's the single most important thing we can do to support the healthy growth of the next generation?